Anthony, we're going really international today. I mean, all the way to Asia today.
Asia? We must be going to Singapore.
Yes, I do Singapore. Thank you.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality. Hey, everybody. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. I'm Glenn Hausman. That's Anthony Melchiori, and you're watching, I think, episode 580 of our show. My goodness.
And 580 episodes, and you still don't wear my magnetic collar stays.
No, I have them. They're just in my travel bag.
I didn't say you didn't have them. I just said you don't wear them. I know you have them.
I'll only wear them if you decide to sell all of your stock in a particular tech company.
Okay. I like Facebook.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. And Anthony, before we bring on our guest today, we got Dean Schreiber. He's the CEO of Oakwood, their service department company. And as you know, I got to know the service department business really intimately before the whole rest of the hospitality industry kind of got on board with that. So we're going to talk to him and get involved in a great conversation. But before that, we've got some exclusive news thanks to our friends over at Nolan. Now, they're not going to be releasing this information until tomorrow, and they are doing a session right after this. I'll put up the address in a second for you to do it. But listen to this. They are saying that the recovery, Phoenix, by the end of 22 is going to be 100% recovered. Tampa and Dallas, 90% recovered. Atlanta and Miami, 80% recovered. And Oahu and Detroit at less than 50% recovered. Then coming to 2023, we're seeing a lot more markets, 100% recovery, Phoenix, Tampa, Dallas, Miami, San Francisco, Atlanta, Houston, while others are going to be a lot lower. What do you see as the connecting fabric on that?
If I can be so bold to say, that makes perfect sense. It's not a surprise to me. And I actually thought the markets they said would recover next year are already recovered.
This year,
I mean,
by the end of this year.
I already feel that those markets seem to be. I mean,
but mind you, this is maybe I wasn't clear. This is specifically groups and stuff like that. So the
groups
recovered, but the group business.
Oh, that, my friend.
My fault, everybody. I'm just so excited to have Dean here that I think I left out that one.
It's like saying, and the Oscar goes to the guy who did the best actor.
You remember what the Oscars?
You need his name.
You remember when they gave it to the wrong they gave it to the wrong movie, and the PricewaterhouseCoopers dudes had to come rushing out on stage. No.
I do. And Will Smith is up for an Oscar this year in King David, which I'm looking forward to seeing.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I should have watched that when I had the chance on the home streaming.
It's now on Netflix anymore or wherever.
I don't know what service it came out on, but I should have.
But yeah, group business coming back in those markets is huge. And I think the reason they're coming back faster is because people are pulling their groups from other places and going there. Good news up here in New York, New Jersey. The New Jersey mayor governor just said that school children don't need to wear their mask anymore.
I think that starts March 4th or something like that, right?
They feel that it's safer, and like Corona is not as risky as it was 2 months ago, and so that's good news for us.
Yeah, I think so. I'm really looking forward to everything getting back to the way they should be. Now, one person who I don't think's company has suffered to the extent of some of the other folks and our friends out there that we've been covering for the last 2 years. And I'm talking about Mr. Dean Schreiber, CEO of Oakwood, coming straight to us from Singapore, where now it's officially after 1 a.m. Welcome, Dean.
Thanks. And thanks for having me on the show. It's great to meet you both, and really chuffed to be here.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. Now, before we get into all the hardball questions that we have for you, for our audience that isn't as familiar with this company that's international, just give us a little idea about service departments and what you folks do specifically.
Well, yeah, as you said, it's an emerging market. It used to be sort of a poor sister to the hospitality industry, and I think certainly over the last, or even pre-COVID, we started to see it move from an alternative form of accommodation to really a mainstream form of accommodation, where people were starting to see the value in staying in something that was a little bit bigger, a little less touch points that a hotel may have, but still providing sort of the space, which we all know is luxury, and giving flexibility to stay short, stay long. And yeah, so we started off in America. Actually, we started off as a corporate housing provider, and then realized over the course of the last 20, 30 years that we wanted to be in charge of the guest experience from the moment they started booking to the moment they decided they want to come back to us again, rather than using third-party supply chain, which we used to do, to start using our own branded product. And we grew our portfolio over those last 30 years.
Right. Anthony, there's a whole lot to digest there. I've got some questions, but I know you got one already.
Really, the question is, I want to kind of, people who don't travel to Singapore, and I'd like to give them a little bit understanding. I've been in a lot of countries. I have not been to Singapore. So what is life like in Singapore? What is like right now, what is life like? And as far as the COVID restrictions, where are you? But more about life in Singapore.
Well, Singapore is really, I mean, everyone's going to have a different opinion, of course, but we think Singapore is really the hub of Asia. It really is the gateway to what's happening out in this part of the world. Very small little country, as we all know. It's considered a little red dot on a map. But yeah, it's very vibrant. You know, we always compare it to the likes of New York, where you guys are, and to Sydney, to the major cities around the world. Very vibrant, based on a lot of financial product. Yeah, it's great.
Wasn't it part of Malaysia at one point?
About 57 years ago, we just celebrated our 57th year of Singapore.
And for those of you who don't know, Singapore was basically just a giant puddle, right? And then over the last 50 plus years, it's been transformed into one of the most powerful areas in the entire world. Totally off on the side, Marina Bay Sands just announced they finished a $1 billion project to freshen up the Marina Bay Sands product over there. So you know it's pretty good. But back to serviced apartments there, Dean. It's interesting. You really threw out a whole lot of information there at once, right? But the serviced apartment industry, to give people an understanding, it was kind of behind the scenes, right? Almost behind, to use a term that we hear today, behind a paywall. You had to go try to find it in order to find it. What was it like back then before it became a real true competitor in the modern hospitality industry?
Well, like you said, it was behind a wall, to use your phrase, and it was hard to get out there in front of the customer, because I mean, who really needed to go and stay in a serviced apartment? It was usually the relocation companies would use us, and that was about it.
Right.
And yeah, so it's been a struggle to get out in front of that. And you know, I guess we have managed, and I think Oakwood, for ourselves, we've been at the forefront of that change.
Right. Anthony?
No, it's a fascinating business. And where is the majority of your business today? Is it in Asia? Is it in America, or is it really everywhere? And how many buildings do you have, and how large is the company?
So we're to answer your first question, we are global. I think our strength.
Let me just throw that out, Dean. Australia, Cambodia, China, India, Japan, Malaysia, South Korea, Thailand, Vietnam, US, and more.
Absolutely, and more.
It sounds like Billy Joel's "I Didn't Start the Fire" when you were doing it.
Hey, the world's been turning, and Oakwood's been burning it up.
Oh, I love it. Can we use that? We're going to use that. Yeah. Yeah. So I think the lion's share of our properties are out here in Asia at the moment. We're about 64 properties out here in this part of the world. But then there's, as we said, there's another 20 in the US, and we're growing in Europe. Middle East, we've got a massive project over there in Dubai that's opening up. 5,000 keys all up once it's opened. You know, typical Dubai or Middle East fashion.
One location
has to be big. It's Falcon City, so just near the new airport that they're building. Wow. So it's expanding rapidly. And over the last 2 years with COVID, because we've survived it so well, where all the old hotels were closing, and we didn't close a single one of our properties. We're seeing this big push from developers as well to go, hey, you know, why did my hotel close? And the guy next door, the serviced apartment, how did that stay open? So we're seeing a lot of migration coming over to our side of the fence as well now.
Right.
So people moving their money out of the typical hospitality and going there. Let me ask you a question. Our friend Jerry Anzarella is over in Saudi Arabia and really trying to bring tourism to Saudi Arabia in the next 5 years. I mean, are there opportunities for a company like yours in Saudi Arabia? I mean, are you getting opportunities there?
Definitely. In fact, we get a lot of inquiries from Saudi Arabia. I think our product works everywhere, really. It's wherever people are moving, or wherever they're relocating, wherever they need longer stays. But now what's really interesting, what's really exciting for us is the leisure market.
Right.
And we're talking pre-COVID, of course. The leisure market's been a little bit trickier over the last 2 years, other than the staycation sector. But we're seeing that, and we saw before COVID, leisure market wanting to stay with us, because you think about it, you travel with your kids, right? You don't, if you stay in a hotel, you've got to put them across the corridor, or you're down the, an interconnecting room, or they might not even be on the same floor. In a service department, you can keep them inside your own living room. You don't have to go down with them to the buffet counter to get, a $47 buffet experience, and they just have the cereal. You can open your fridge, pour the milk, pour some cereal in, and it's done. So it's suited to a lot of different demographics, which is making it so attractive, both for the developer.
And do you find, like, if I'm a hotel guest, a standard hotel guest, or a hotel guest that tried Airbnb, we're like, oh, maybe that's not for me. Let me try your type of product, because it's kind of in between both, right?
You hit the nail on the head, Anthony. Exactly. I mean, Airbnb was great for us, for the industry, because it also showed there was an alternative to hotel stays, right? But then, of course, Airbnb is great. Don't want to say a thing about them. Great. And in fact, ever since Joseph's been, brought Mary to the inn, people have been renting out their space, right?
I've got a good barnyard out in the back that I'm hoping
exactly right.
Yep. I just need a good savior, and I'm ready to go.
Exactly. Well, and so now you add to that consistency and service, and security, all of those, and we become really an attractive offering. And so the Airbnb customer, I think, has also shifted to something, particularly because of COVID, with the cleanliness and the reliance that you're going to get what you see on the site.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's fascinating to me that you look at Airbnb kind of as like a bellwether, because things really changed after that. That combined with companies such as yours and others getting much more serious about technology in order to make it more visible to the typical consumer, I think that's really changed a whole lot. Plus, what we're seeing here, at least as far as North America goes, a more fundamental understanding of what an extended stay property is. I mean, after all, if you're looking at traditional hotels and the traditional brands, 1/3 of all new construction right now is focused on that extended stay product. And they don't have a whole lot of that yet at the real luxury level, something that you've been mastering for quite some years.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think, the technology is a key point there too, because being able to get out in front and provide a dynamic pricing, instant confirmation, all of those things, really, really important for a consumer these days, right? You don't want to have to send an email and wait for a response. And
are they checking in with their key, on their phone for their door locks?
We do in some properties. I think that's interesting. I mean, that's emerged a lot over COVID too. But I don't know about you guys, but whenever I tried, and when I'm not staying in one of our properties, of course, I always end up going back to my plastic key.
Well, I will tell you, I tried it at one of the Hilton properties. I don't know if I was in Vegas, and it worked beautifully. I was a little addicted to it, actually.
It gets better and better, doesn't it? I think there's still a little bit of way to go, but I like it. Look, I think it's interesting. If you think about technology today, in the old days, hotels were, and service departments and hotels were really the forefront of technology. You'd go into a hotel and you'd get your multiple channels, and you'd get your music in your bathroom, and you could do a lot of things. Today, I think customers love that because they were going to a hotel for that experience. Now, home technology is so much more advanced. We got to catch up a little bit in that sense as well.
Yeah, we absolutely do need to catch up. But the hospitality industry is always going to be, I think, perpetually behind where everybody else is. But now you're caught up with technology in the general sense of getting people to connect better with the brands. And Anthony, to go to your point about the keyless entry, one of the cool things I've seen at some Airbnb style products that I've stayed at, it's like a keypad. You could just program your own, password or something like that. I think that's a really nice solution as well. And I wouldn't mind seeing the ability to use your phone or, put in my PIN code to get into a room. What do you think about that, Anthony?
Absolutely. I think that's where it's going. I think key cards are going to be gone in 5 years.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think there's some interesting technology that's being developed out there. You know, we're talking about retina scanning and fingerprints and all that sort of stuff. So it's interesting. I love it.
I don't want key cards to go away. The same way I don't want concert tickets to go away. I no longer have concert stubs, and I no longer am going to be able to get this awesome stack of cards that I've been building for the last 25 years.
Listen, I was the last guy in the line at on Delta with the ticket. I finally got to my phone where I used that, but I always had a ticket in my hand. So I get you, but soon I can't wait till I walk into a hotel and there's a little chip in my head and there's some technology that reads the chip and it checks me into my room without me touching the door. It turns on ESPN for me. It makes my shower hot. It puts on the lights. It puts on the air conditioner to 65. That's what I want, and that's where we're going. And that's 10 years away.
You're talking about the Apple iBrain. That's going to be coming out very soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's an interesting point, Anthony, because I think what has to happen in our space is certainly personalization of the experience, right? It has to be, you can't walk into a room and it doesn't necessarily have to be the same, the same art on the wall or the same carpet or the same design. I think, or what's in the minibar should be customized to your preferences. And I think that's definitely a direction that we are heading in as an industry.
As the hospitality industry, we suck at it.
Yeah.
We suck. Like there's a hotel in New York City that has a whole department really to customization and personalization of their hotel. It's $1,000 a night and it's 5-star, but even at the 5-star level, they're doing it better than most because most 5 stars don't do it as well as them. And it takes a team and it takes effort and some technology, but we need that technology at the 3 and 4, 5-star level because we're terrible at it. Yeah. I remember when I walked into the Nomad Hotel in Vegas, and yes, they know me there, and yes, my friend had run it, and they take really good care of me. But there was a piece of art on the wall. All they did was ever hanging there. They got printed out a picture of Coney Island, and they put it. It looked like it was in the frame. They put it in the frame, and I remember coming in, and I was like, at first, I was like, I don't remember that being there before, but they saw something on TikTok or wherever that I love Coney Island. And yes, there's a little effort there, but wouldn't it be great if there was video art and you did that personalization where the person from Singapore and you put a little picture of their hometown or whatever. That's not that complicated.
It's not at all. In fact, we're working with a lot of technology players, Samsung particularly, to develop that sort of experience, right? And it's fun. It's really good. I love going into the R&D rooms and chatting through this. We've got a room actually in our office here where we experiment with that sort of stuff, and it's really cool. I love it. I'm a bit geeky like that.
Dean, I've been saying for years, whenever I get the opportunity, so I'm going to take that opportunity right now. If we want these things to be more like home, then why aren't we leveraging the video screens? We're already seeing that with digital artwork. Why can't it be connected to my reservation and I could upload photos ahead of time and have either the artwork or family pictures that mean something to me be automatically part of the room when I come in?
100%. Absolutely. I support that totally. We are really, it's going to get there. And I reckon we're going to be one of the first to do that sort of stuff.
Well, you guys are kind of forced by the nature of being a serviced apartment to be much more residential. And being that you have people there for longer stays, you don't have the comfort of waiting for all of the technology to filter through the entire ecosystem of the universe before you put it in. You need to have a very different point of view, right?
Exactly. Spot on. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Finish your thought.
No, I was going to say we because the customer stays longer there, it's also there's a lot of room for error. So we do need to be really specific about what we do, and because they're with us for a long time.
Yeah. What is the average length of stay? Are you in the 28+ day category typically?
If you look at us globally, we're around 57 nights.
Woo!
Right? But we do think that with what's happened in the last 2 years, that the short stay is going to get longer and the long stay is going to get shorter. And that fits us exactly where we want to be too.
Which city? I was going to ask the question of which city has the longest stay? Which city has the shortest stay?
Oh, good question.
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
So we've had customers. We have customers in our Tokyo properties that have been with us for 10 years.
What?
Now that's the outliers. That's the extreme end, right? It really is. It's not so much about the country. It's about the
Type of business.
No, what the zoning is of the building. So some buildings are mandated that they can only take 30 or 60, a minimum of 30 or 60 day stays, and others have hotel licenses. So it's a little bit different. But I think the US is still miles ahead of us in terms of long stay. If you look at that, because there's so much shifting domestically between states and people coming in, and we do a lot of unfurnished properties in the US. We have a new brand called the Oakwood Living, which takes this hospitality experience and puts it into the multifamily. So that's, they're always 1 or 2 year stays there.
Yeah, but I'm going to ask you a question that always came up in the hotel business when I was running hotels in New York. Is somebody stays 35 days. In New York, you can only stay 30 days without it being, a different type of tax and different type of occupancy. So we have
rights change for whoever's staying in that space too.
What's that?
The rights change. If you stay there more than 30 days,
right,
you could just camp out and never leave, and you'll have to evict.
Right. So we have to check you in. Right? That's probably the biggest point for the hotels is we were concerned that you would say, "Hey, I live here," and then you never leave. So checking out, we would check them out and check them back in. Is there stuff like that going on? Do you do that where you check them in, check them out?
Yeah, you do. I mean, we always stay, within the rules of the law, right? But
that was within the rules of the law. We're allowed to do that.
You can do that. So yeah, we do, but we don't actually need to in our properties because we do run both a long stay and a hotel license in most of our locations. So even if we only license maybe a portion of our hotel room of our rooms for the short stay, we can still do that. So yeah, we haven't come across any big issues yet in that sense.
Yeah, but that makes sense. I want to go back to what you said about the shorter stays getting longer and the longer stays getting shorter. Gordon says, teleworking enables people to stay in locations longer, but it probably also allows them to stay shorter, right? Because they could get some stuff done. They don't necessarily have to be on location. So how are you then adapting your company to try to get people to either stay longer or whatever in this particular environment?
Well, I think we actually like to have a mix. We always like to run our properties around a 60 to 70% long stay, 30 to 40% short stay. For us, and for the owners, that gives them the best return on their investment because you're filling those gaps between tenancies with the shorter occupancy. So what we try to do is we know which markets like to stay longer. We know which markets like to stay shorter, and we create packages and mailing and to those specific demographics. So it's the old revenue management science, behind that. So we adopt, we have some really good systems in place to do that. But yeah, I think we like them to stay longer. We also like the shorter piece.
Right. So where do you think is going to be your growth engine in the future? You have 8 different brands like Oakwood Premier, Oakwood Studios, Oakwood Suites, Unlimited Collection. And what markets do you think you have the most opportunity for some of those products?
I think, like you said, we have the 8 different, with a suite of 8 products there, and each of them has its own growth strategy. I think we'd like to see the Oakwood Living concept grow in the US because there's such, it's such a good business model, those multifamilies, and being able to provide a level of service. So we're bullish about our growth in the US with that particular product. In Europe, we're starting to see a resurgence of wanting a service department. It was very much about leasing in the UK. In Europe, we're seeing that hotel management agreements are coming back into play there. So we're looking at our shorter stay model for Europe. Mm-hmm. Asia is just booming. China, you could open up a property every day on every street corner and still fill it. So every geography has a different strategy.
So I have a business question, very technical question. Uh-oh. What's your favorite local dish in Singapore?
I'm a big a fan of beef rendang, I must say. It's maybe across the border, comes from Malaysia, but I'm a big fan of that.
So what is it? Explain what it is.
It's a beef done in a kind of a gravy and a bit of a coconutty curry flavored on coconut milk. Really, I go every Friday with one of my work colleagues to a little stall just around the corner from where the office is, and indulge in that. Unfortunately, it does hit the waistline. So that's
what's the name of it again? So I'm going to look for it in New York.
Beef rendang.
Okay, that's what I'm getting next time.
All right. So then I've got a question for you. Have you ever heard of Google Man, who serves charcuterie?
Char Kway Teow, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it doesn't he have a Michelin star or something? Isn't there
Yeah,
some...
the reason why I bring it up is because the good folks over at Resorts World, and by the way, we're doing a live show from Resorts World Las Vegas on the 24th of February. They brought over Google Man to their famous foods food court, and it is awesome.
It's got a good following. Yeah. Look, you can't go wrong with food here in Singapore. We have a lot of amazing dishes, but I must say I love coming to the US, and we have we have our office over in Long Beach in California, and you guys do know how to do good ribs and a good burger. So I do like the balance.
I really appreciate the comment on the ribs, but you guys have got the best street food on the entire planet. How often do you eat that versus formal restaurants when you're in Singapore?
Well, probably far too often. It's obviously very handy to everywhere you go. There's food here, so the street food is just right in front of you.
Anthony, we got to get ourselves over to Singapore.
You got to come.
No, what we got to do is we got to get him to bed. That's what we got to do. He's 1:30 in the morning over there.
Yes. All right. So, Dean, before we wrap up, anything that else that you would like to add?
No, listen. Thank you for having me on the show. It's a great show. I love the energy that you both have.
Well, it's not 1 a.m, so it's okay.
I got a good idea. I got a really good idea. We are dying to come to Singapore. Okay, all we need is a plane ticket and a hotel room, and we'll do our podcast from your office.
And some different thing.
Let's talk about that. I reckon we could do something. We got.
You don't even have to give us a plane ticket. We'll drive.
Yeah, we will come for some of our openings. It'd be a good thing to cover.
I'd love to.
Great. Give us a good plug for how people could learn more about you guys.
Right on the website, obviously, oakwood.com. That's an easy one.
Beautiful. Dean, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
It was a pleasure, and thank you for the ladies in the green room for all your help.
Yep. Thank you. That was pretty awesome. I love being able to travel around the world and great stories and learn about companies that we're not as familiar with here in the United States.
Yeah, especially in America. We have such it's us and them. We live here and we go on vacation to Singapore for 2 weeks and we come back and we forget all about it. It's in all the travel I've done in the last 10 years, I don't have any regrets in my life, but there was one thing that I wish I did more and had more opportunity to do is to travel.
Yeah.
And my friend who went in the Navy, Jonathan Schwartz, he traveled all over the world. I didn't really travel all over the world until I was in my 40s. And I say country, and he's oh yeah, been there, done that. And travel, like I remember when the kids were little and my wife would never take them out of school. She's a school teacher.
Right.
And I think if I would have taken my children on one of a trip when I was traveling for business, I think it'd been a lot more worthwhile and they could have missed a couple of days of school and wouldn't have been behind. Yeah. And I did that once with my daughter. We spent 13 days in Europe and it was in the summer. It was magical, and she still remembers it. And she references it not so much as it was a great trip, but references the culture and the food and the different places. So I'm fascinated by different cultures.
I agree. That's why I love, my kids really love going to places like Israel and Madrid and London and Epcot in Disney because they really got a full sense of all these.
My daughters love Epcot. I was like, that's not the real world, but it does help a little bit. But when are we going to Japan, my friend?
Not soon enough. For as you guys have been following, I've been trying to get to Japan in the summer of 2020, summer 2021, and it's not looking good for the summer of 2022 for Americans being able to get over there. But I really want to get over there.
Me too. Have you been watching the Olympics at all?
That's all I'm watching, dude. I don't watch any TV, but when the Olympics come on, I am glued to it. I watch it all weekend. Dude, watching those guys on the luge go down a hill at 85 miles an hour. Oh my God.
I'm all about that. See, that's a sport I could do. The slalom down the ski slopes at 115 miles an hour, I would have done in my 20s, but I would do the luge now. But okay, I got to ask you a question.
Yep.
When curling comes on in primetime Olympic coverage,
yep.
A, do you watch it? B, do you turn the channel? Or C, do you say, are you effing kidding me? It's prime time. Give me something else.
I know. I like the curling, but 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, I think is good for.
I can't do the curling. I think that I have tremendous respect that anybody commits themselves to a sport to get to that level. So all respect in the world. But I'd really rather watch paint dry. I tried to watch it,
Right.
and I just can't do it, man. Like figure skating, I like figure skating, but what happened is, remember back on ABC Wide World of Sports when we were kids, you got 37,000 hours a day on the weekends of figure skating.
Mhm.
I think I filled up the cup of figure skating, so I can't even watch figure skating anymore.
I can. My wife is really into it, and Helene got me watching it, and I absolutely love it because the athleticism is incredible.
It is, but a lot of it seems the same to me. When Hamilton, right? When he would do backflips, that's when it got me excited. I want to see some backflips.
Yeah, but I think he was only allowed to do that in like the free skate. You can't do that.
Yeah, I want to see some backflips. He actually stayed at my hotel, Lucerne Hotel, back in the day, and he was one of the first celebrities that stayed in one of my hotels. And I remember going up to his room. He asked me to get him something, and I just remember it was very interesting because I don't know why, but I was like he had a suitcase open. And he lived out of his suitcase. And it was the first time I realized that people aren't OCD like me and unpack everything.
Right. All right. I just did a little fact check. I think it's Scott Hamilton and Brian Boitano, who, by the way, has an incredible crab cake recipe that I make around the house. So if you like crab cakes, Brian Boitano's your man.
Well, yeah, he does some cooking. I remember seeing some stuff. But Scott Hamilton, I love her. By the way, let me do a little shameless plug, which I don't do very often.
All right.
TikTok. I just started posting some videos of me showing some hotels in Vegas that I love, and I'm going to do more of that when we're traveling tomorrow. Actually, Glenn is going to do me a favor and hold the camera while I talk about one of the hotels we're going to. Excellent. And because it seems like that's resonated with my fans, and we went I really haven't. People that know me know I don't really do that much on social media, but like in one day we've got 27,000 on one video, and people seem to be wanting more and more of it. So go to my TikTok. It's at Anthony Melchiori, very easy. And you'll find interesting, and I'm probably going to keep it to interesting things in the hospitality industry, whether it be a hotel or whether it be like the Japanese toilet I talk about or other things. So we're probably going to put a little emphasis on my TikTok. So go to at Anthony Melchiori on TikTok, and you'll see Glenn's favorite recipe every Friday.
Ooh, I like that. Must be booze related. All right. Maybe I'm going to get a TikTok, and I will only do dance videos in hotels. Tell us what you think. Should I do that or not? All right, Anthony.
Let me answer for everyone on earth. Yes, 100%.
Should definitely do that, right?
That will go viral. Make sure you're in your Fruit of the Looms, though.
For all the wrong reasons. All right. What do you say about getting out of here? All right.
So I want to see. Hold on. I'm not leaving until I see. I don't have a lot of followers, but I have like 1,144 because we just started. So I want to see if we go to 1,145. So if you're listening, as he's doing the exit, let me see if I can get 1,145.
All right. And while we're at that, hold on 1 second. I need 8 more followers on my LinkedIn page. Do me a favor, hook me up with that while we're at it. And while you guys are doing that, because you don't have enough to do, it's a lot of responsibility paying attention to No Vacancy Live. Download our audio version. Get that at Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you like to download your shows. Well, I got some news for you. We are there for you. If you want to reach out to us personally, I'm at Traveling Glenn, and he's at Anthony Hotel.
We went from 11:44 to 11:52 in 30 seconds.
Nice. I love it. I can't wait to see where you're going to go. And I think my LinkedIn following has actually gone down 500 people since I mentioned that. Just kidding. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. We will see you tomorrow live from the Beekman downtown New York City. That should be a whole lot of fun.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. And then we're going to be doing a special show in the afternoon that will broadcast at a later date. I'm excited about that.
We are? Yeah, I forgot which one we're doing. Just tell me
we're going to a community center that Dave hooked us up with downtown in Midtown New York to talk about what's going on in New York City at a more intimate level. And then on Thursday, we're going to do a live show for Mint House in New York City. They're a great hotel, 70 Pine Street. It's also a service apartment kind of concept. So we'll actually get to show you one of those spaces. So, all right, we'll see you all tomorrow when we're downtown New York at the Beekman Hotel. And until then, remember, you've got one life, so blaze on and
be kind to yourself.
See you all tomorrow.
Still 11:52. Let's see if we get to 11:53.